Good morning, one and all, to the first episode of Sync, where we bring you inspirations, experiences, and guidance from achievers and alumni in the various career domains so that they can be the guiding light that we need. Today, we have with us Mr. Rahul Bajaj, an alumni of NITT, batch of 2011, who had done a major career switch to the finance and analysis sector. He has completed his MBA from IIM Shillong after graduating. He has worked as a research analyst at Citi, transactions member at HSBC, and now is finally a finance lead at the EMEA group under Google Cloud. We would like to welcome you to this episode of Sync, where we hope you inspire future analysts and finance enthusiasts. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Thanks, Savar, a lot for the generous introduction. And please don't call me sir going forward. Call me Rahul.
Okay.
I would really appreciate it.
So how is?
So I'm very good. I'm very good. So I'm sure like these are difficult times for everyone, but I've been slightly fortunate and doing well.
How is the pandemic situation where you are right now?
So last 2 years, I'm sure have been very difficult for each and every one of us. We have learned a lot of new things, and some of us have been very unfortunate that they've lost some of their loved ones. So I would not say that pandemic situation is good for anyone, but it is getting better. So I stay in London. So here, I would say the number of cases are high, but everything has opened up, so things are getting better, and I think I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but I think very soon we will be out of this pandemic situation.
Has it in any way affected your work life, the pandemic, other than the work from home scenario?
I That's a good question. I think it has, and it has had a considerable impact on how we think of work life. Essentially, like let's take an example of if I had to attend a meeting, I would generally travel to the location where I have the meeting. But in today's world, we've learned so much, and we have become accustomed to have this kind of meeting. So essentially, right now we are doing the video conference, and now I'm very comfortable with it. I'm sure you are by now very comfortable with meeting online. So believe my work life has been impacted, and some of it has been impacted in the good way. I believe a lot of people had complaints previously that they had to travel to office, whereas it's not required. You can very well work from home. I think with the pandemic, we were forced to see how that would work out, and I think it is working out fine. I think everybody's learning, and some people do miss office space, and I think that's also good learning for anyone and everyone, that okay, in office these are some of the things that I get. At home, these are some of the things. That everything has a pros and cons. So overall, it's good, man. It's good.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Rahul. So I have a bunch of questions related to your college life. So how was your college life and what did you engage in your free time?
So college life, I would say, was fantastic. I did a lot of things, but let me start with my very beginning of college life. So first 6 months coming from Maharashtra state, almost 1500 kilometers to Trichy, it was not easy. The food was different. A college, as what you see today, was a lot different. We used to have power cuts like ranging from 6 to 12 hours a day. We used to have water shortages. We used to not have internet. And of course, the campus was not as green as what you see today. In spite of all that, I had amazing friends. So because we did not have those luxuries of life, what we had were people around us and friends. So during that time, we used to spend most of our time together. Of course, apart from the time that where you were in your like 8 to 1 or 8 to 3 your college studies, we I was most of the time with my friends, and I would say those are the best friends that I've made. Till date, I am in touch with them. Till date, I talk to them. Even if I've not spoken to them for 2 years, I can easily talk to them in the same way I used to talk to them during college. College is definitely the best memory that I have with respect to friends. and the time that I had was amazing. So loved it, loved every moment of it.
Okay, if you have to choose any one memory, so which memory would you choose? The most memorable part of your college life?
Oh, that's a good question. See, one is with friends and the other with respect to academics or cultural and other activities that I used to do. So, of course, the time that when we used to party and celebrate was is very memorable. I remember those ones. And one specific one I would say is becoming the president of entrepreneurship cell. So that has been something very memorable, and that gives me confidence till date, because my journey to becoming that president has been has been of ups and downs. I was in the waitlisted. I was a waitlisted candidate for entrepreneurship cell, but I ended up becoming the president. So in that period, I've learned a lot. So landing finally the position was something which I really think was amazing.
So, like, let's move on to your career kind of topics. So, as you said, like ESL has been a major part of your like something that has allowed you to continue a career in the similar roles. Can you tell what are the steps that you can take? Say you have moved into the finance sector, you have gained a position for yourself in the finance sector. So for people who are unaware, like people in the bachelors who are unaware of how to get into that domain, can you give them a certain insight and what path they should follow, and what are the various career options that they have when they jump into the finance field?
Okay. This is a very broad question, Savar, but let me take you through the journey of mine and the thought process, how I landed into the finance role. And then maybe I'll try to answer the questions that you have put. So, first thing is, I think in college, and I believe a lot of people who are currently doing their engineering from NIT Trichy don't exactly know what they want to do in life. I was in a very similar boat. There, I was in the exact situation, and that time we try to have career goals, or we try to think that okay, this would be the right career for me. So it was very much the case when I was in my first year. I had seen, so in college, right, you have got a senior in the same branch from the same state that is kind of a mentor to you. So we would call them let's not go into the naming, but I had a final year person who was from Maharashtra and who was from production engineering department, the same as what I was, and he got placed in Lemon Brothers. So now that was sowing the seeds of finance into my mind. He got placed. I think Lemon Brothers was one company that was among the top paying companies in the campus. So I thought, okay, let me set up my career for that. And from there, I started reading about finance. I started reading about how it works, what are the different roles in finance. And after doing that, I realized, okay, investment banking is the place where I want to be. Now, I'm not saying that was the right thing for me to do. I'm just saying this is how the seeds of finance got sown into my mind. And I started pursuing it a little by trying to understand how the stock markets work, what is investment banking, what are the things that I would need to know if I want to make a career there. And then you remember, right? This is 2007 when I was in my first year. 2008-9 is the period when the financial crisis came in. And then those huge salaries of investment bankers was put into light, how those investment bankers added fuel to that crisis actually happening. So that time, what made me push towards that finance or investment banking as a career was, of course, reading those articles, understanding what has been happening. So that is how I started preparing myself for a finance career. Now, to your one of the points that you raised is, did ESL help me uh, get there? No, ESL was good in building the skill sets that are needed for me to work. So if you look at, like, I'll go back to my point that I was saying, I was waitlisted in the entrepreneurship cells interview. The reason was that I'm from a really small place in Maharashtra. So I'm from Akola. I was not a great communicator. My English was like hardly good. I would say it was broken. So in that club, I had people from different states, from different communities. We all came together, we worked together. I started understanding people. So that was the first time that we were together working towards accomplishing something. In that process, I learned a lot. So ESL did not help me land a finance career, but it built certain skill set in me and made me think that I can be a leader. Eventually, when I became the president of Entrepreneurship Cell, we had a 60-member team, which I was leading, I would say, but everyone was working on their own independently. So that gave me certain leadership attributes that has helped me in my career all the time. So those were the good things of Entrepreneurship Cell. Now moving on, I landed up a job in Bero Consulting slash market research company. I worked there for 2 years. Those were also very important forming stages of my career. Again, I would say every experience will end up teaching you something. So every decision that you make in your career will most probably push it in the right direction, or at least you have to take it like that. Because some decisions you think would were wrong at that time, but in the future you would be glad that you have made that decision. So no decision is right or a wrong. So I landed up in Bero. After having 1.5 years or 2 years worked in that company, I realized if I continue here, I would never land a finance job. So although my learning was enormous there, I wanted to stop that and move to finance. I started applying for companies which were more finance related than my current role, and that is when I landed in Citibank, which is what you also mentioned. So in Citibank, when I joined, it was more or less in analytics. Analytics was a growing field during that time. So, and I did not know a thing about analytics. So I landed up there because more or less around my ability to answer uh, some of the puzzles, some of the questions, and they were just testing me on how I'm thinking. And then they were to train me on these analytical pieces. Again, that was how I got a feel of finance. In that, I was looking at KPIs of the bank. So I was setting targets for the bank and looking at how the bank is performing, which gave me a feel of finance. I was learning a lot there. And I would say from knowing nothing about analytics, I ended up being the one of the primary analytics person there in 1 year period. So that also showed me that you can in career learn from scratch, start from nothing, and still end up doing well. That was my same learning from ESL. That was my learning from Citibank. Then came the third piece. Again, investment banking was something that I had not gotten over yet. So I still wanted to be an investment banker. That pushed me to my MBA. So I realized during that time I did my CFA. So CFA is Chartered Financial Analyst. It's a brilliant course. I would recommend everyone. It's expensive slightly. So even if you don't want to appear for the examinations, at least during your college days, I would say take the books of CFA and start studying. The knowledge there is enormous. And those books are freely available. Uh, if you search on the internet, you will find PDFs of those books. It's very easy. So go for it, start learning. Don't give the exam if you feel the fees are too high. And once you start earning, maybe you start appearing for your exams so that you don't burden your parents. So during that time, I did my CFA course. I'm sorry, I'm going a very long answer, but I'm explaining you the career movement and what I've been thinking in those periods when I was making those decisions. So after Citibank, because I wanted to be an investment banker, I landed up in my MBA college. MBA college is where I learned a lot about finance. I eventually did my internship in HSBC in the investment bank. And that is when I had the first flavor of my dreams coming true. Now, you understand, I had this dream from the very first year of my college. Okay. And now I landed up this job. I was in the internship period and I realized, oh my God, investment banking is such a tiring job. You basically hear the good things about investment bank, that these people close deals, these people launch IPOs, these people do mergers and acquisitions. But when you actually get there, you realize that there are 100 pitches that you work on every month. Out of that, even one might not close. So in 6 months, these people work on mergers and acquisitions. People close IPOs. These people close the deals in 6 months period. But for that, they have to work so hard. And the outcome of that was something that I did not appreciate. So I would say dreaming and landing the dream are very different experiences. And when I landed the dream, I realized I don't want to be an investment banker. Period. But still, you remember you're in your MBA college. You have to keep your best foot forward. So I was still doing my best in order to land a PPO with that company, because still, in comparison to other jobs, investment banking does pay well. So I landed a pre-placement offer in HSBC. I was happy in the college, everything was going fine. But during that time, Google came to the campus. And now let's go back to the dream, right? When you are in the first year of college, Google is, especially for an NIT Trichy person, Google is one of the companies. Like, I'm not even talking about production or mechanical engineering here. I'm just talking about for every NIT Trichy person, Google is one of the dream jobs. So now that dream started coming back to me. Like, I knew that it is impossible for a production slash mechanical engineer to land a job in Google. But then I saw an opportunity. And see the irony of it. Google came for a job of campaign manager. Now, what is a campaign manager? Campaign manager is someone who helps company with their marketing efforts. So it was a job related to strategy and marketing. A person who has studied finance, who had been dreaming for finance, landed up taking a job in Google in marketing and strategy. But I wanted to keep my journey as open as possible, because my learning from Citibank and the various things that I've been doing is be open in your life, look at where you can add value. Your dreams has to keep on shifting. You have to keep pivoting in life to new things that you will learn. So I did not limit myself to my dream. So I decided to take a U-turn there, and I decided to take that Google offer. Reasons: Google is a great company to work for. Marketing and strategy, I thought, were good things I wanted to learn. Having focused so much on finance and seeing the investment banking inside, I thought, let's give this a try. I landed up that job. I think I did well in marketing and strategy as well. I learned enormous. Like Google, if you look at Google, they earn company from advertising, and I was in the core of advertising, right? I was breathing and working in advertising every day. Like, I was helping the largest companies in the world to set up their ads on Google search and Google's platforms. And that was how 80 to 90% how the one of the largest companies in the world was making money. So enormous learning. But still, one thing that I was still missing was finance. And that is when I saw that Google is focusing a lot of its efforts in diversifying. When I say diversifying, the business model is very advertising focused today. They wanted to grow their cloud business. And that is when I thought, okay, this is Google's priority. And then I saw a role in finance in London in Google Cloud. All the parameters, how I judge a job, were fulfilled. And then I applied for that job and I got the job. And today I'm working in very, very different thing from where I started. But in that journey, I have enormously gained experience, learned, and now sitting in finance, I understand so much about different things that I'm happy that I had a career which was a zigzag and which was not straight. But today, I I am really happy, right? I'm the finance lead for EMEA Industries in Google Cloud. And here in finance, it's more or less related to sales finance. So I'm learning a lot on how Google is planning for growth in this area. Google has the luxury of having a lot of money, like you just call it cash. So a lot of cash on its books. So Google is using cash in order to grow. And that strategy, I can see what we are implementing in EMEA. So the learning here is enormous. Do you think I would continue in finance in the future? I would say the answer may not be yes. It could be very well a no. I can move to being a product manager, or I can move to a very different field. And Google gives you that. Google doesn't judge you by what you're doing today. Any job that you apply within Google, it will be open for you. And if you can crack the interview, you can land the job. So you're not limited by what field you did your engineering in. You're not limited by what you're doing currently. You just have to tell the or convince the interviewer or the hiring manager that you can do the job that he wants you to do. A period, like. So I would say, don't be very aligned to one thing that you want to do. Keep learning, keep understanding where the world is going. The world will give you cues on, okay, this is what we need today. Build your career in that if you have already not started thinking about your career. If you're a fortunate person, like if you're very smart, if you're a superb scientist, or if you want to do a research, please go ahead and do that. But if you're not sure, there are a lot of things that you can consider when you're making that decision. And it's all right to not do what you thought you would do, because you can see the example from my journey, right? I wanted to be an investment banker and I refused to be an investment banker when I landed the job. So it's okay to think that you've made mistakes, and it's okay to recourse your path when you think you're going wrong. And nothing is like, in the end, you will realize that even those failures were your stepping stone to a new path where you will be more successful. So don't limit yourself, would be my lesson with respect to my career.
Okay.
Sorry for the
Yes,
very long answer, very,
It's
very
fine.
long, but
Mr.
I
Rahul,
thought
this
it
journey
was
is really
worth
very
explaining.
motivating. This journey is really very motivating for us. Like how various up and downs goes in life, and various new career opportunities come to us, and we can look into it instead of being sticking to our one goal which we have chosen years ago.
Exactly. That is the most important thing. You will get opportunities, and be afraid. Don't be afraid to take those opportunities. And even when I dropped everything when I went for my job from Bero to Citibank, I left my job, I went back home, and then I started looking for jobs. So for a period of 2-3 months, I was almost jobless. But I knew until I go all in, I will never land into finance. But is that the right thing to do? I don't know. Sometimes you land a job, sometimes you don't land a job. So you always have to think of a plan B. My plan B was going for MBA if I don't land a job. But I was fortunate enough that I landed a job with Citibank. So certain risk you will take at your career, and you will be glad that you took those risks.
Okay, sir. So, Mr. Rahul, you have completed your MBA from IM, so you must have prepared for it when you are working in when you were working in city. So, how did you maintain balance between your work and preparation?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So during Citibank, as I told you, I did not knew an iota of what analytics is. So I had to, like, what I'm trying to say is it was not an easy job for me to get into. So I had to work really hard in the job in order to at least be productive enough there. On the top of it, studying for MBA was very difficult. So I would say, when you're studying, keep goals in your mind that, okay, I have to solve these many questions today. And keep the goals very realistic, because I think it's all a matter of your mindset. So if you feel confident that day, and if you go with confidence, and if you have been doing the right things in preparation, you will be successful. But if you think, okay, I'll solve 200 questions every day, that is an impossible goal. So you will be always worried that you're not studying enough, you're not doing hard work. You will be more fearful rather than be more confident. So I would say keep very simple goals. Solve 50 questions or solve 30 questions every day. Do that. Be happy that you're doing that. And in the end, go to exam without stress. I would say my first time when I gave my CAT, I was very stressed that, oh, I have not prepared enough. Oh, I know nothing. But in that thing, I actually lost my CAT examinations. Whereas when I was doing my Citibank, I was happy. See, I have got a safe job. In that job, I knew I could have continued had I not cracked my MBA. So in my mind, I was secure, and that security kept my mind fresh, and hence I think I cracked the CAT. So if you are secure in the first place, the first attempt you're giving, I think it would be helpful for you. Your exam will go much better. So always have a plan B, that if CAT is not successful, what would you do? If you have that plan, I think it would be good for you. And solve the, like, don't keep an over ambitious goal, because if you keep a normal goal, you will be able to stick to it and you will be happy. And being happy, my friend, is the most important thing in life. So be happy, set realistic goals.
So, sir, as you have mentioned that you are part of ECEL, but after going through your LinkedIn account, we find that we are also part of TEDx. So, what's your view on the soft skills which we gain from the clubs in the college? Then, do you think that do these skills really help in our career?
So yeah, Aditya, that is a very good question. Just one clarification. TEDx we did as part of ESL. I do write it separately in my LinkedIn profile, but that is because I was also curator for TEDx, and I think it was like I write it separately, but it was more or less the same thing. But having said that, if your question is what did I learn from TEDx or what did I learn from these experiences, again, I would say experiences is what make you the person that you are today. So these experiences have definitely helped me. And I told you, right, I'm the biggest example. Like I was not being inducted into entrepreneurship cell because I was not good in communication. So these things, when you interact with people, when you work in groups, doesn't necessarily have to be ESL, or doesn't necessarily have to be some clubs that you have in 3G. If you come together with your team with one goal, and if you accomplish that, like what you're doing with SYNC, right? I think you got mechanical engineering students and you are conducting these guest lectures, and I'm sure you will upload it in your page. So you have come together with a goal in mind. You've prepared for it. You've prepared certain questions for this interview. That process is what is helping you learn. And that process in the future will always be with you, because your mind will now start thinking in a very definitive way. Enough, you will have a framework of success, and building those success frameworks is the most important things. So TEDx has helped me, ESL has helped me. I've done a lot of things for Pragyan and other things. All those things have also helped me. Even Prodigy. So I was I was conducting Prodigy. I don't remember the position, but I think general secretary. I was the general secretary of Prodigy. So all those things, of course, shape you. So I'm glad you're doing this, and I'm glad I did those things in my college times.
Okay. So like in a situation like you have worked with people from business schools around the world. Now, do you think like there is a big difference when the way like business schools function in India and the way business schools function outside India? Like, do you see a difference in the people coming out of business schools in different parts of the world?
This is also an amazing question. Let me give you an example. I think this will also help you. So I had a friend who was like, both of us were preparing for IIT. I landed in NIT Trichy. He landed up in IIT Bombay. Okay, he was among the top 200. Like his rank was less than 100 or less than 200. I don't exactly remember, but IIT Bombay Computer Science. Okay, then he did his MBA from Harvard after having worked for certain periods. The best career, like the best colleges that you can think. Today, he's a product manager in Google, and he's doing well in his career. And I would say I did my NIT Trichy engineering. I did my IIM Shillong MBA, but more or less it's very easy. I have a path to be doing the same thing, be at the same level as he is. Long story short, it doesn't matter what college, what place you start from or you land into. He paid a lot of money to do his MBA from Harvard. I did not pay that much, but I still paid enough for my IIM Shillong MBA. But the biggest thing is, of course, you have to get those opportunities to get you to that place. So for those opportunities, you have to fight. You have to fight for the right things at the right time. You have to understand where the world is going. In the end, you would make success out of it. I know I am not answering your question, but like you can do an MBA from India, you can do an MBA from outside. From outside, it would be easy for you to land those opportunities because a lot of companies want graduates from there. But that doesn't necessarily mean that is the only way. So if you have to choose, again, I might be a bit biased towards my own career path, but if I had to choose, I might have chosen an Indian MBA and working for a multinational company, which can still give me the opportunity to come outside if my goal is to work outside India. If, like, again, it depends upon what my goal is. If you want to work in India, go for an Indian MBA. If you want to work outside, you can you have a much higher probability of working outside if you do an outside MBA. But remember, the fee delta is a lot. I paid 12 lakhs for my MBA. People in Harvard, they pay 80 to 100 lakhs for their MBA. So look at the cost, look at the benefit, and look at what you want from your career. There is no, like, I also know people who have done these MBAs from outside, did not get a visa, and then had to come back. So no college or no career decision will assure you success. It is very much up to you in what situation you land. You might be lucky as well, right? Luck is also a big factor that will keep your career at a high or at a low. So don't get dejected. Keep using those dejections to learn and grow, and you land up in something good. So I can't answer where you should do an MBA from, but I think I still try to give you a framework on how to think about it.
Okay. So, like continuing on as a follow up, like you said, as you have said that it you will have to fight and in certain can choose the right opportunities. So, like as a person who has stayed in the finance field for some time now, and I'm pretty sure you will know people who have continued in their own science and engineering journey. So, do you think, like, what are the advantages and disadvantages that you think are there in the finance field at the current days?
See, as you can tell, I'm not a very financy professional, right? I've taken where the world is taking me. But yeah, I have had experiences where I learned about finance. So it's a very difficult thing for me to compare science and management. Both are very different fields.
Mm.
And the level of happiness is also very different. So management might be a bit more cutthroat. Science would be a bit more collaborative. You're working towards one goal of developing something. Whereas in management, you have to be always on your toes. You have to keep learning. You have to keep growing. The world is changing so fast in management that if you would have if you would have looked at the world, experience was the key. So you grow with experience. But now that is not true anymore. So a person with 2 or 3 years of experience is now building a startup and is the CEO of that company, is running those companies. So experience, which was very valuable in the past, where if you have 20 to 30 years of experience in the industry, oh my God, your profile is the most wanted, you get paid the highest. That is not true anymore. A person who have worked in startup for 8 years have seen it all, have seen marketing, has seen management, has seen operations, uh, understands a lot of things, might be a potentially a better candidate or better fit to be the CEO rather than a person who has worked in finance for 20 years. So what I'm saying is these are very different things and we should not compare. We should not compare the salaries from these fields. We should not compare these fields because everyone has its ups and downs. And with more money comes more responsibilities, more tension, more stress, and maybe a very unhappy life. Whereas a person who is a scientist is happy with the daily work that he's doing, or a person who is working as a mechanical engineer in an automobile company is very happy with what on a day-to-day basis he's doing. So keep them very separate, keep it as per the interest, and choose what you want to do. And both life will have their problems and both life will have their successes.
Okay. Aditya.
Okay, Mr. Rahul, during the pandemic, we have seen that there is a shift in the trend. Like people at the young age are becoming more aware of their finance and investment. Like if you look at into the data, then 2 crore demat accounts has opened in India itself during the pandemic. So, do you think that financial education should be made compulsory in college or the school? What's your views on it?
Yeah, I 100% think. See, one thing that, of course, IITs maybe are doing is they're giving options. I don't know what is the present state of NIT Trichy, to be honest. I know it from 10 years back, but I never had the option to take a course in finance in the college. But talking to my friends from IITs, I know they have been given an option to study finance in their college. So, my view, we should definitely have a course which you can choose. Don't force people to learn finance because it is not a requirement for an engineer. Give them an option to learn finance. If we have professors who can take that course, I think that would be amazing. Because the earlier you start to learn those things, the faster you know it is something that will interest you or not. So it's always good to have that learning in college.
Okay, okay, sir. One follow up question. Starting investment at a young age is a trend nowadays. So, what are your views on it?
See, I was fortunate enough to have done that myself. Whatever people say, see, there are two things, of course, there. One is how much of money you are taking as a capital in order to invest. If you're taking a minimal amount to learn and doing your solid background work, or you're just trading. So essentially, when I say trading, is you don't know if this stock is good or bad. You just buy it, you sell it, you buy it, you sell it. That, in my opinion, is trading. There is no problem with trading, but you do it with knowledge in your mind. So at early age, learning about stocks is amazing. Trading is amazing, but do it in the right way. And once you have learned the right way, and then if you're trading, even on an intraday basis or a long term basis or short term basis, it doesn't matter. Just do it the right way and don't uh, don't do such like huge losses for your parents that your parents will ask you not to trade. So do it with everything in check. It's a brilliant thing to start early. Like learning, in my opinion, is something that you should continue at every point in your career. And it is an ongoing thing. Even after 20 years or 30 years now, if you see people, they have to learn or the market will make them redundant. So the world has changed a lot and there is no problem with learning at any time. Earlier, the better.
Okay, Mr. Rahul, we are near the end of this session. Any message you would like to give for Synergy?
Thanks a lot, Aditya and Savar, for inviting me and having me. I believe at Synergy, you're doing a fantastic role, fantastic job of one, having these interviews, giving students a bit of more learning from the alumnus and alumni, which is great. And I thought you guys were very well prepared. You guys knew what my career trajectory has been, and your questions were very much relatable to every engineering student. Definitely, I would have benefited a lot if someone would have told me these things uh, during when I was studying in my college. So I really appreciate the great job that you're doing. Keep it up. Keep doing it. And as a student, I would say, uh, enjoy your life. This is the best time that you will have. These 4 years would never come back again. Enjoy it. Use it to learn, and don't be rigid in your career choices. Make them flow as and when opportunities come. Don't be dejected. Be happy. If you even if you don't land, if you're a final year student and if you don't land a job that you've been dreaming, it's all right. Take a job, next best job that you think would be best for you, and keep growing from there. You will make your own career, you will make your own path, and in the end you will be happy that you did not get the job that you wanted and that you were very sad that day for. So don't be unhappy in life anytime. Enjoy.
With that, we actually come to the end of the episode, and we thank you for uh, giving us an opportunity to have an interview with you. And I hope the students who see this episode will benefit a lot from learning from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you both.